Welcome to Cavaletto Studios. I'm Chris. How would you like to massage out those tough spots? Today, we will start with a few basic foam rolling techniques on the larger muscle groups, finishing off with stretches, but not before using tennis balls to target those trigger points. So let's get started. Bring the feet out in front of us, feet flat, knees bent, and I want you to lean back. Let's start on that. Let's start on the left glute, the left butt cheek. So you're going to lean into it, and you're just going to roll from the top to the bottom of the glute. And this is where I want you to just notice if there's any tender spots, any trigger points. It's a nice, slow, gentle roll. And then after we roll, we're going to get a little deeper into those tender spots with a tennis ball. And then we're going to stretch it out, and it'll move better, and it will feel better. So now I want you to find the middle of that glute with that foam roller. That left leg, the side you're leaning on, lift it off the floor, and then pull the left ankle over the right thigh. And again, roll the whole length of that glute, all the way to the bottom to those sits bones, and then all the way to the top of that glute. If you have wrist issues, you can always go onto your knuckles, and you can also drop to your elbow or use a yoga block to hold yourself a little higher. Now, if you find a trigger point, I want you to stop right in the middle, right on top of that trigger point, and gently move that knee up and down. And then maybe move that roller a little lower, continue moving the knee up and down. Checking in again, then moving all the way towards the top of that glute. So you want to get all different areas, maybe leaning more to your side, then leaning a little back to the back part of the glute. Now when you're done with that, we're going to release that foot back to the floor. We're going to slide off of the foam roller, and this is where you're going to grab that tennis ball. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to go a little deeper into the glute. The roller's behind you. Bend your left knee, lean onto your right butt cheek, and take that tennis ball and stick it under that left glute. And you could use the roller behind you as support for the low back, just bringing those hands behind the roller, or you can even lean your elbows on that roller and then drop your left knee. It's bent, foot is on the floor, drop it out to the side and back up. So it's helping get into those trigger points a little deeper. And you can adjust how you're seated, taller or leaning back more. Just a little drop, open and close. Now you're going to try out different areas with the tennis ball, just like we did with the roller. Maybe slide your body a little bit to the right so it goes more to the outside edge of that glute. And then again, drop that left knee open and close. The right leg is straight out in front of you. Just find those trigger spots. Maybe you move the tennis ball up a little higher towards the top middle of that glute and drop that knee open. Just a great way to find some of that stuck tissue, those trigger points. Just keep adjusting the body maybe a little bit to the right and forward so the tennis ball goes up into the outside back top edge of that glute. Everybody's a little different, so you might find different trigger spots. Maybe you go more to the bottom of the glute, towards the sits bones, and drop that knee open and close. Again, and then if you have a spot that you know you're like, oh, I got some stuff going on there, we might want to go back to it again, just moving, and maybe you just lift your body slightly and rotate little tiny circles with that tennis ball. Moving it around, or just rock even your whole body side to side, including that knee. So lots of options there. If it's excruciating, obviously don't do that. You want to back off and just do what feels good to you. One more. And then we're going to slowly come up, release, take that tennis ball out. That left knee is bent. We're going to bring it across the right thigh and just give it a hug. Pull it into the chest with your right arm. Reach your left arm behind you. So you're really stretching that whole area that you rolled and you got in there with the tennis ball. Flex your right leg that's out in front of you. Lengthen through the spine. See if you can sit up a little taller. You might feel more of a stretch in that glute and hip area. As you twist your chest towards that left thigh. And take a nice deep breath in. You want to hold the stretch for minimum 10 seconds. 20 is good, 30 is best. Almost there. And then we're going to slowly release. Straighten out that leg. Give them a shake. We're going to switch sides. So now you're going to jump back up on that roller or push yourself up. You don't have to jump. And then rotate to that right butt cheek. Right hand is behind you, both knees bent, both feet flat on the floor, and then use those legs to push yourself to the top and the bottom of that glute. And if you did the right first, that's okay. You can go to the left. We're doing both sides. Forward and back, trying to get that whole area. And again, if you find a spot, you can always just pause and you can move the knee there, open and close or rock. Notice the difference between this side and the other. Then you're going to take your right foot. We're going to bring it off the floor and cross that right ankle over the left thigh. And roll again, top and bottom of the glute. This helps get a little deeper. You might feel it a little more. And again, you can go on your knuckle, you can drop to your elbow, whatever feels good to you. If you find that any spots, trigger points, pull that knee gently up and down. And then move yourself forward so the roller goes higher up on that glute, or move yourself down so you go down by those sits bones. Moving that knee, you can lean closer towards the outside edge of the glute or back towards the middle. So much area, got to cover it all. One more time. Now we're going to pause here and lower that right leg all the way to the floor. And we're going to come off of the roller and we're going to get that tennis ball. So now we're going to use a tennis ball on the right side. So you're going to keep that right knee bent, left leg straight, lean over, and place that tennis ball right in the middle of that right butt cheek. Lean back. Again, you can use that roller or you can move it out of the way. And then drop that right knee out to the side and then bring it back up. So it's rocking from the bottom of the foot to the outside edge. And then move your body just a little bit. Try out different areas. Letting that leg fall open and close a little bit higher. Tennis ball is a great thing just to take with you if you're on a road trip and you don't have a lot of room or you want to pack light. Take that tennis ball, or even if you're traveling, take it on an airplane with you. It's a great one to keep in your airplane, the seat with you. You can work your glute, you can work the upper back, which we will get to later. Get those knots out, and then a little lower on that glute, just again moving around. Maybe you lift and circle a little bit. Anybody finding any trigger points? Don't forget you're going to the top of that glute. Dropping that knee open. You can also rock the whole body in addition to just the leg, or down by those sits bones. And just notice if you've got more knots on one side than the other. Just means you're normal. And last one. And then we're going to take that tennis ball out, place it on the side, bring that right knee across the left thigh, hug it in, reach behind you, lengthen through the spine. Nice twist here. So again, we're stretching out through that whole glute hip area. And we're breathing. Feel the belly pressing into the thigh as you breathe in and out. Again, holding this stretch. I'm not timing it today, but if you have a clock, you can watch when you're doing this. 10, 20, 30 seconds. Minimum 10. One more breath. And then we'll release. Now, we're going to bring that roller down by your feet. So tuck it under the knees, bring it down. So we're going to move down to calf. So we're going to stay towards the back, just easier to move in there. Let's start with our right calf. Option one is spread out those fingers and then just lift your body and roll the calf towards the bottom. just the bottom half of the calf, and turn the legs in and out. If it's too hard to lift your body, just bend and straighten the knee. That left foot is on top for pressure, pushing into the roller. If it's too intense, keep the left foot on the floor, and then just turn that leg to right and left. So you got a couple options there. When we find any kind of trigger point, you might want to massage it by rotating the ankle, putting pressure on it, on that calf area, wherever that spot is, and then rotate that ankle. Once you do the lower half, then you're going to slide your body forward, move the roller to the upper part of the right calf, the meaty part, and again, bend and straighten, turning the leg inside and outside, or you can lift your body and roll up and down the middle of that calf, as well as turning your legs to the side. It's a good upper body workout as well, or turn your leg in. Don't forget rotating that ankle, finding any of those trigger points. One more, maybe even get to the way outside of that leg. And then we're going to release. So we're starting just with the right. Go ahead and move that roller out of your way. You're going to use the tennis ball now, and we're going to just place the tennis ball right in the middle of the meaty part of that calf that we just did. Bend your left knee so you have a little support, and then you're just going to gently slide your leg and your hip forward and back with that tennis ball under there. And then try to rotate your ankle both directions, then maybe even move that tennis ball. I'm tilting my leg slightly to the right, so the tennis ball moves from the middle just to a little bit to the outside back edge of that calf. And again, slide the body, just a gentle shift forward and back. I'm not even lifting my hips off the floor. I'm just rotating, like I'm trying to reach my leg towards the end of the mat and back. And then also try rotating the ankle, especially if you find a trigger point. You can keep moving that tennis ball, maybe up a little higher towards the knee, but never going behind the knee. So this will take a little bit longer. You want to just slowly rotate that ankle, move that tennis ball up and down, maybe through the center. You can also turn the foot in towards the midline of the body, and again, slide forward and back, or just try pointing and flexing or rotating the ankle. So you have a few options here. Maybe you found a knot and you want to just point and flex. Maybe you try circling the ankle both directions. Lots of different ways to try to get that crystallized tissue, those trigger points, massaged out. That way that it can get nutrients and hydration in there, and we can get more flexible. We also, it softens the tissue so it moves better. So we feel like we're more flexible, more mobile in that area. Also move backwards then and move that tennis ball down. So you're still going to work that whole leg, moving down towards the lower part of the meaty part of the calf, sliding your body, rotating that ankle, moving down even further. So you're going to keep moving that tennis ball down towards your ankle. Might not feel as much down there. If you've had plantar fasciitis, you might find some trigger spots. Just keep moving the ankle down. The tennis ball down towards the ankle. You're doing a little maybe bend and straighten, or just sliding that hip, pushing that leg, and then turning it to the outside edge, and then going the inside edge, and then moving down closer. When you get down towards the ankle, you want to go find your ankle bone and draw a line up from there and go right behind it, and the tennis ball might fly away. Go right above there, and then do a little point flex, getting in towards that pronaus longus. So you got muscle that runs up on the back here, along the side, and just moving that ankle, you can feel it. You want to get that tennis ball into that fascia tissue right there. It can get tight. This will help our mobility of our ankle. And then once you're done, you're going to take that tennis ball to the side, and you're going to bring that foam roller back underneath the knees, and then roll it down back to the ankles. Now, before we go to the other leg, We're still on the right. Keep your right leg up on that roller. Cross your left ankle under your right knee because we want to really stretch out that calf. So you're going to slightly bend the knee, lean forward but stay tall, flex your foot, maybe even grab your toe, and then gently straighten and bend that right knee. Just trying to get some movement here. You can even release the toe, turn that foot out to the right, do a little gentle straighten and bend. Then let's keep the foot turned to the right and circle the ankle. And then change direction. And then try the other side. Turn it in just slightly. Circle, circle. And then flex that foot again. Point and flex. And then see if we can flex it. If you need to bend the knee and lean forward, that's fine. Or see if you can straighten it out a little. Feel that nice stretch underneath the back of that lower leg, the calf. Gastrocnemius. And then release. We're going to the other leg. Left foot up on that roller. Right leg crossed on top. So we're on the lower part here. This is where you can use your arms. You can lift yourself. Just roll that lower part. Or you can stay seated and just bend and straighten. Notice if you have any trigger spots here. How different is this leg than the other? Just questions to ask yourself. Tilt your leg to the out. Rotate it out to the left. Again, bending and straightening or lifting your body up. And then also the inside edge. Turn that foot in, leaning slightly to the right. Again, bend and straighten or just lift the arms, lift your body with your arms and massage it. And let's try that circling of the ankle. All different areas, moving it around. Then we're going to move that roller to the meaty part of the calf, up a little higher. Same thing, rolling from the back, lower half, mid-lower half of the calf, the gastroc, and then up towards the knee, but not going directly behind it. And then turning that leg in, going on the inside edge, again, or bending and straightening. And then the outside edge. If you find a knot, circle that ankle, both directions. You can also point and flex that toe. Just a little bit of a rinse and rehydrate of that, rinse and flush those calves. And we're going to take that roller and we're going to move it out of the way. Because now we're going to get our tennis ball again. I'm going to turn around so make sure you can see. So, we're on that left leg. You're going to bend the right knee. Place that tennis ball underneath the calf, right in the meaty part of that left leg. You can lean back on your arms, or you can even hold onto your knee if that helps you sit up straighter. And just slide your leg forward and back. Try to relax the foot as much as you can. If you find a spot, maybe point and flex or rotate the ankle. Both directions. And again, we never go directly behind the knee, but we want to go up as close as we can. And just moving through the hip, you want to turn that leg to the outside edge. Turn it slightly to the left. Don't forget rotating the ankle, both directions. And then to the inside edge. Circle, circle. And then working your way down, keep working it. You went kind of up a little, now back down. Play around with it to see what feels good to you, where your spots are, where your little trigger points are, that we can soften that tissue and then we can get more mobility, not just in that ankle, but in the knee. It attaches at both joints. Keep on moving down, circle, circle. So you're going not only down the middle of the calf, but you're turning that leg out, slightly out, so you get the outside edge of it. You're also turning it inside and moving that tennis ball to the inside edge. Keep moving it down. And you might notice towards the bottom, you have more spots towards the outside edge and the inside edge, but not necessarily in the very back part. Because you got your gastroc, which is right on the surface on the top, and then underneath, that soleus is way underneath, but then you can feel the stuff on the outside edges more than just the back. Because you got more muscle, fascia, tissue, not just tendons and ligaments on the outside edge. Don't forget, on the outside edge, we find that bone and we draw up and we go right on the lower side of that and point and flex that foot. Oh, and there goes, tennis ball tends to shoot out on that one, if that happens. Just grab it and get back to it. Then we're going to release once you're done. Go ahead and place that tennis ball on the side. And then we're going to bring that roller back again across the mat and bring that left leg up on the, so the ankle's on the roller, and then cross that right ankle under your left knee. And you're going to bend the knee and hold onto the toe and just do a gentle straighten and bend of the knee. So you're stretching out through that calf, that gastroc. And then you can even let that foot go, turn it out to the side and do a little straighten and bend. And in. Maybe some ankle rolls, both directions. And then again, hold on to that toe, see if you can straighten out the knee. If you can't straighten the knee by holding it, you can always let go of that toe and just straighten the leg and do a flex and point. That still is working through that whole gastroc. Last one. Now we're going to release that foot, and we're going to keep the roller right there in front of us, and we're going to move up to the front of the body to the quads. So you're going to come into a tabletop and bring the roller down by your knees, and then you're going to come to your elbows. So when you're on your elbows, you're gently going to bring that roller right above the knees, but we're not hitting the kneecaps. Feet are just relaxed on the floor, and you're going to let your body roll forward and back 1 inch. 1 inch. Make sure you're not sagging your back. You want to really breathe in, expand through the core, support your spine. And then you're going to walk your elbows back 1 inch. And so that roller moves up the thigh 1 inch, and you move forward and back another inch. So we're just working our way slowly up those quads. Notice if you tend to be leaning more to one side than the other. And then walk the elbows back again. Roller moves up the thigh. Sometimes, depending on what we have going on in the body, we tend to lean towards one thigh more than the other. If one's a little more sensitive, keep moving yourself backwards. That roller is moving up the thigh. Just go up to as high as you can comfortably. And then when you get there, we're going to walk the elbows forward very slowly and let that roller slowly move down the quads again to the top of the knees. Then we're going to bend the knees. And again, engage that core, lift the belly, and then gently straighten and bend both legs. You're right above the knees. Do about 4 straighten and bends. Keep the knees bent then, walk the elbows back 1 inch, roll it up 1 inch, and then straighten and bend again. About 4 times, and then walk the elbows back 1 inch. The roller moves up the thigh 1 inch, straighten and bend. Bend the knees, walk the elbows back 4 times, 2 to 4. If it's super painful, just do 1 or 2. And then 1 more time back. If you have, everybody has different quad leg lengths. So if you are not quite done, then just keep on moving up. If you are done, then you can slide off the back of the roller. You're going to separate your knees, feet together. Put the roller to the side for a moment, and then melt your belly between your thighs. Arms forward. We're just going to pause here and take a little mini stretch break so the quads can stretch over the knees. And breathe. Then from here, we're going to come up, and you're going to get your tennis ball, and we're going to come all the way down to our belly. So just like we did on these other muscle groups, we went in with the tennis ball. So you're going to lean slightly to your right side and take the tennis ball and place it at the very top meaty part of your left quad. And then bring your hands, stack them under your chin on the hands, and then you're going to bend and straighten that left knee with the tennis ball there. Now we're going to move the tennis ball just a little bit to a little bit towards the outside edge. And if you need to keep your hand there like you feel like it's going to shoot out, that's fine. Just a few bend and straightens of the knee. Then you're going to move that tennis ball up so it's going almost to your hip flexor, towards the top, and then bend and straighten. That might be a little sensitive. We're getting into some tendons and ligaments there. So towards the top, then move it towards the outside edge, tilt onto it to your left slightly, bend and straighten. Then you're going to lean back to your right, take that tennis ball, slide it down to lower into the quad, maybe towards like the middle between your hip and your knee, and then you're going to bend and straighten again. Now I'm not leaning all my weight on that left thigh or that tennis ball there because it's a little sensitive. So maybe stay a little more on your right hip, right quad as you bend and straighten your left knee. Now you can also rotate like by sliding slightly to your right so that tennis ball moves to the left of the quad, or just move it with your hand. And then you're going to slide that tennis ball further down that quad and straighten and bend. It might get a little tender. So again, maybe you're leaning more on the right side, so you can just slightly straighten and bend. I'm a little leaned on this one. And then a little further down, we're working our way towards the knee. And again, it might be a little tender because when you lift that knee, that's a lot of pressure on that quad there as you get lower into it. And then just and you can even just move your body forward. I'm just inching up the mat instead of moving the tennis ball. It's a little easier because I can't quite reach it. And then bend and straighten. You can also place your left foot on the floor and just rock your foot side to side, right on top of that tennis ball. And then move a little closer to the knee. Just go down as far as you comfortably can. And then when you're done, you're going to take it out. Bring the tennis ball just up into your hands. And you're going to bend that left knee, and we're going to stretch that left quad. So you're just holding on to the foot or the ankle. If you cannot reach your foot of the left leg, you just lay on your right side and bring the foot behind you and put it on the floor and push your hip up. So you're really stretching through that whole hip flexor and down into the knee. Otherwise, you can stay here. You can also use a strap or a belt or a towel. Just feeling that nice stretch. And then we're going to release the foot. And you can stay on your belly. I'm just turning around so you can see. So you're going to stay on your belly. This time you're going to lean to the left side. And you're going to take the tennis ball and place it right in the middle, top middle of the largest part of your thigh. Stack your hands and then bend and straighten that right knee. So we just switched legs. That's all we did. If you want to stretch more in that quad, for time's sake, I'm moving on, but you can always go back and stretch your quads more. Then bring that tennis ball a little bit further to the outside front edge of that quad. Bend and straighten the right knee. Now from here, you're going to bring that tennis ball higher up. So basically right where, if you were to pull your knee up, it would bend at that hip. So bend and straighten again, getting into tendons and ligaments. It might be a little more tender there. So don't put a lot of weight on it. And then you're going to move it to the closer to the front outside edge. Bend and straighten. And you can play around with where you have that tennis ball at that hip flexor. Maybe you need to go a little lower, maybe a little higher. Everybody's a little different on where and how those attachments fit and feel. All right, so from here, you're going to take that tennis ball, move it way down, so you're going between what feels like the knee and the hip, right in the middle. And you tend to have to lean a little more to your left side as you bend and straighten, because it might be a bit more sensitive. And then slide that tennis ball towards the outside edge as you pull that right knee towards the center line of your body. Then you can move that tennis ball a little bit lower. How's that feeling? You finding some spots? That's why we foam roll first. If it's too intense, you can always just foam roll as well. Move that tennis ball to the outside edge. And again, just keep moving the tennis ball down closer to the knee. So these spots in the thigh, when we find these knots, it can really pull the hip out of alignment, but more importantly, it can also affect our knee alignment. And we don't want to affect the knee alignment, because then if it's misaligned, then we end up grinding the knee improperly and then end up with a knee replacement. Or if you already have a knee replacement, well, then you need to be loosening this up to keep things stable and mobile. So again, keep moving it. And again, option, you can put your toe on the floor and you can rock that leg side to side, especially down there by the knee. And then we're going to release that tennis ball. If you're not done, go ahead and take your time finishing up. And then we're going to reach for that right foot. Use a strap or a towel or whatever works for you, or a belt to hold on to it. Or if you can't reach your foot, the goal is to get your knee behind your hip. You can always lay on your left side and bring that foot behind you and just push the hip up. So you're really stretching. But if you're holding your foot and your knee is in front of your hip, I'm demonstrating, we want to get it back. Not overarch the back, but get it on the floor. So again, it depends on, and maybe you need to lay on your side to grab your foot. That's okay. One more breath. Feeling that nice stretch. Again, 10, 20, or 30 seconds. And then we're going to release. And go ahead and slide all the way up. And let's take a child's pose for a moment here. Stretch it out. Stretch out your back in case it needs it. And then coming back up. It was just a quick stretch. Bring that roller back across the mat. Set your tennis ball to the side. We'll use those again later. Now you're going to go to upper back. So we've got the glutes, quads, and calves, your main large muscle groups of the lower body. So now we're going to go to upper body. Fingertips behind the ears, not interlaced, but open up that chest. We're going to lift the hips, and we're going to roll that upper back just about to the top and bottom of the shoulder blades, looking up at the sky. You might get a natural chiropractic adjustment. Make sure you can breathe. One more. And then we'll find the middle of those shoulder blades, lower the hips. You're going to drop your knees towards the left and roll into that left shoulder blade. And bring your left elbow to the floor behind you and just do a gentle rock into the armpit, maybe even into the chest wall. If you're missing lymph nodes, I want you to stay towards the back, towards those shoulder blades, and just do a gentle forward and back roll, or up and down. Otherwise, you can bring, even that top arm can come up, and you can really get some range of motion, finding any trigger points in that area, in that shoulder. One more, And then you're going to transition to the other side. So bring yourself back to center, feet on the floor, hips on the floor, knees bent. Open up that chest, then drop the knees to the right and rotate onto that right elbow behind the roller. And again, rocking yourself forward towards the chest wall, back into the shoulder blade. Same thing goes for this side. In case you have anything going on, you've had any kind of surgery, rotator cuff tear, repairs, things like that. And just rock it. You can use that top arm for some more range of motion. Massaging things out. If you find a trigger point, you can just pause on it, do a gentle rock. Last one. Then we're going to come all the way up off of that roller. You're going to set it to the side. Now this is where we're going to get nice and deep. We're going to use 2 tennis balls. If you only have one, I'll show you a couple options if you have 2 tennis balls or 1. If you just have 1 tennis ball, you can place it underneath that shoulder blade and then just start to lean towards it and slide your arm. That's one way, or you can even put it between the shoulder blade and the vertebrae, but not on the spine. Really great one would be to have 2 tennis balls and you want them as close together as you can, touching. You're going to lift your head and you're going to place them, again, touching as low onto the upper back as you can, and then press your feet into the floor, walk them in, and then slide your body towards the back of your mat so the tennis balls go between the shoulder blades and your spine, but not touching the spine. And then lower your head to the floor. You're going to bring both hands to the sky, and then you're going to open them wide, and then bring them across your body like you're giving yourself a hug, and then open wide. So this is the area that's really kind of tough to get with a basic foam roller. You're going to open wide, and close, and then open wide. So make adjustments. If you feel like it's catching your breath and the tennis balls are too low, you can move yourself forward so they move back up. If you haven't moved far enough and you feel like they're like really high, bothering your neck at all, again, make those adjustments. This is more about how it feels to you. You don't want it to have causing any kind of extreme pain. Just keep moving those arms forward and open and closed, crisscrossing and back. And then after this one, you're going to open the arms wide and just let them rest on the floor. If this is really hard on your head and it's hard to get your head to the floor, throw a pillow or a blanket underneath your head. And just notice what's going on. Make sure you can breathe. The knees are bent, feet are flat. That way we protect the back a little more, the low back. Now, option to bring your arms all the way back up to the sky. And then this time we're going to reach the right arm overhead, left arm to the hip, and then switch. So we're getting a little massage here now along those shoulder blades. And then switch. And then switch. We have 2 more. And 1 more. And then back to center, both arms up to the sky. Open them wide to the side like a T, and then bend your elbows like cactus arms. And maybe see if your elbow or your back of your hand can reach to the floor. And then slide both hands way over your head. You're doing a stretch. And then bring those hands down next to the body. Lift your head. Roll off the side of those tennis balls. Make sure they're nice and close together. So hopefully you had 2 tennis balls and you will dig in there deep. Otherwise, go to the other side. Use that tennis ball in between those shoulder blades. Go ahead and place those tennis balls to the side. Big shoulder rolls. So we got in there nice and deep, got things loosened up, softened those trigger spots. So hopefully you can have a little more range of motion in your neck and your upper back. So lengthen through the spine, hold on to the knees, and then drop your chin, slightly drop backwards. And then open up that chest. Bring the fingertips together in front of you. Draw the hands forward, draw the chin to the chest, round through the upper back. Nice little stretch there. And then we're going to open up, lift the hands overhead. You might have even felt the chest opening when we were doing that stretch with the tennis balls behind the back. Draw to the left, reach those arms. Inhale, lift, draw to the right. Inhale, lift, palms together. Exhale, palms to heart space. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.